grab a seat, because Dan Quinn just walked into a press conference room in Ashburn, Virginia, and casually dropped enough storylines to fill an entire season of a sports drama. In the span of roughly 10 minutes, the Washington Commanders head coach confirmed a controversial roster decision that's been dividing fans for weeks, revealed the secret weapon quietly reshaping his defense, delivered a brutally honest self-assessment of his own team's performance, and, perhaps most importantly for the millions of fans holding their breath, gave one of the most glowing updates on quarterback Jayden Daniels that we've heard all camp. If you care about this football team even a little bit, you need to hear every single word of what just came out of this man's mouth. Let's set the stage first, because context is everything here. The Commanders are deep into the meat of training camp, grinding through what Quinn himself called a critical new block heading into a joint practice, with fans packed into the stands watching every single rep. This is the part of the summer where roster spots get won and lost, where reputations get made and broken, and where a head coach's words in front of the media start carrying serious weight for what's coming in just a few short weeks. And Quinn did not hold back. Let's start with the story that's been dominating headlines for days. The kicking competition that finally, mercifully, reached its conclusion. For weeks, the Commanders ran an old-school, no-nonsense battle between veteran Jake Moody, a Super Bowl-tested leg with a third-round pedigree, and Drew Stevens, an undrafted rookie out of Iowa who nobody outside of hardcore draft nerds had ever heard of back in the spring. And when the front office finally pulled the trigger and released Moody, plenty of fans were left wondering exactly what tipped the scales. So a reporter went right at Quinn and asked him directly, what exactly was it about Drew Stevens that separated him from a guy with actual playoff and Super Bowl experience? Quinn's answer was fascinating, because it revealed just how long this competition had actually been simmering. He explained that this wasn't some hasty, panic-driven camp decision. This competition had been building since the spring, when both kickers were out there battling nearly every single day. He said that as camp rolled on, both guys were having what he called productive days, which honestly sounds like coach speak for this was genuinely close. But then he said the words that mattered most. Stevens had established himself as kicking it, in his own phrase, pure and clean. That's about as strong an endorsement as you'll get from a head coach who tends to play things fairly close to the vest. And he made it clear this wasn't some fluke decision made in a vacuum. He specifically said it was a good competition, that Stevens earned it, and now the plan is to get the rookie all the reps, all the pressure moments over these next two preseason games to fully prepare him for a real NFL regular season. Translation: this job is Stevens to lose, and Washington is fully strapping in behind their undrafted rookie kicker heading into the fall. But here's where things get really interesting, because right after handling the kicker question, Quinn pivoted into a topic that should make every single Commanders fan sit up a little straighter: the signing of veteran cornerback Rasul Douglas. Now, on paper, signing a 30-something journeyman cornerback in the middle of the summer doesn't exactly scream exciting storyline. But listen to how Quinn described this signing, and you start to understand why this move might end up being one of the sneakiest smart additions of the entire offseason. A reporter asked Quinn what he'd learned about Douglas's unique ability to jump into a new defense on incredibly short notice, a skill Douglas has apparently had to use over and over again throughout a well-traveled career that's taken him through multiple different organizations. Quinn admitted, refreshingly honestly, that this specific trait wasn't something he'd actually discussed with Douglas directly during the recruiting process, but he pieced it together in real time during the interview, explaining that he'd had conversations with Douglas about coverages and techniques from his past stops. And Quinn theorized that experience is exactly why Douglas can walk into a brand new defensive system and immediately start speaking the language, even if the terminology is completely different from team to team. Different coaches might call the exact same coverage concept by a totally different name, but according to Quinn, Guys with Douglas's level of experience can translate that vocabulary almost instantly. And then Quinn dropped the detail that should have Commanders fans genuinely excited about what this veteran brings to the field. He talked about Douglas's size at the cornerback position, comparing his physical presence to that of a big receiver. Length that allows him to contest passes and close down throwing windows that a smaller, shorter cornerback simply can't reach. Quinn praised his patience tracking the football down the field, a skill that separates disciplined veteran cornerbacks from cornerbacks who panic and get beat over the top. In a division and a league that's increasingly built around big, physical wide receivers who can go up and win jump balls, having a long, experienced corner like Douglas suddenly available off a one-year deal might end up being one of the most quietly impactful moves the front office made all offseason. Quinn made it clear he's been pleased with everything he's seen from Douglas so far, and given how thin the cornerback room looked heading into this offseason. That's a genuine sigh of relief for a defense that desperately needed size and steadiness on the back end. From there, the conversation shifted to the trenches, and Quinn gave one of the more honest, unvarnished breakdowns of where his offensive and defensive lines actually stand right now. A reporter asked point-blank whether the run game was where the coaching staff wanted it to be at this point in camp, and Quinn didn't sugarcoat it one bit. His answer was a flat, direct not yet on both sides of the football. But he was quick to add important context, explaining that padded practice days make an enormous difference for run game development, and with more of those reps coming. He expects real progress to show up quickly. He talked about how the combinations up front and the overall speed off the football still need refinement, but he was careful to note that this isn't about players making a ton of mistakes. It's about timing, tempo, and the kind of chemistry that simply takes reps and time to build. Interestingly, when a reporter tried to connect the run game's struggles to the ongoing shuffling along the offensive line, hinting at the absence of key starters during parts of camp, Quinn actually pushed back on that idea, saying he hadn't specifically evaluated it through that personnel lens. According to him, this is far more about execution details than about who exactly is lining up where. Then came a jarring bit of injury news that Commanders fans absolutely need to know about. Running back Jerome Ford has landed on injured reserve after suffering a hamstring injury during the team's preseason game. That's a real blow to a running back room that was already being closely watched, but Quinn quickly pivoted to some genuinely encouraging news about the two rookies stepping up in that room. Katron Allen and Robert Henry Jr. Quinn lit up a bit describing both players, noting they bring different styles to the field but share the exact same hungry, eager mentality. He specifically praised their ability to contribute on special teams, mentioning one of them showing promise on kickoff returns as a lead blocker, while the other flashes ability in the return game itself. And in a league where roster spots for backup running backs often come down to pass protection and special teams value, Quinn's praise here genuinely matters. He specifically highlighted that both rookies have shown real growth in pass protection, a notoriously difficult skill for young running backs to pick up quickly, and he pointed out that despite one of them having a drop during the preseason opener, that same player has consistently shown good hands catching the football out of the backfield. According to Quinn, that combination of skills, pass protection plus receiving ability, makes both rookies far more well-rounded and valuable than a typical one-dimensional camp body, and it's opening the door for more opportunities and more reps as the summer rolls along. Quinn also addressed the elephant in the room regarding backup quarterback Marcus Mariota, confirming that the veteran will remain out not just for this week's preseason action, but likely into next week as well. When pressed for more specifics on a broader timeline, Quinn admitted he genuinely wasn't sure exactly where things stood beyond that immediate window, joking almost wryly about needing a better name for this particular stretch of the calendar between training camp intensity and the regular season grind. It's a small moment, but it shows a coach who's willing to be candid rather than dodge a question with hollow, scripted non-answers. Now here's where Quinn got genuinely fired up. When the conversation shifted to what he actually saw on tape from Washington's first preseason game, and specifically what frustrated him. He didn't hide his disappointment about the defense's opening drive, saying flatly that he didn't love the urgency the unit played with. His exact words painted a vivid picture. He wanted to see his defense play downhill, aggressive, and violent, and instead what he saw on tape fell short of that standard, particularly on a third down conversion the defense allowed early in the game. This is the language of a former defensive-minded head coach who built his entire reputation on relentless, attacking physical football, and hearing him say his own defense wasn't playing violent enough tells you exactly how high the bar is in Ashburn right now. But he wasn't done venting frustrations. Quinn also called out how the offense started the second half. Describing a missed opportunity in vivid, almost pain detail, Washington had scored, then gotten a defensive stop, giving the offense a golden chance to seize control and put the game away. Instead, according to Quinn, the unit failed to capitalize and was forced to punt right when it had a real chance to blow the game open. He specifically named starting both halves strong and playing with consistent aggression as two major points of emphasis heading into the next stretch of practice. A clear signal that Washington's coaching staff sees slow starts and momentum lapses as a fixable, correctable issue rather than some deeper systemic problem. On the defensive side specifically, though, there was plenty for Commanders fans to feel genuinely good about. Quinn was asked about which position group stood out to him from the preseason opener, and he gave a detailed, energized answer that should excite anyone worried about Washington's revamped secondary. He praised the cornerback's ability to cover down the field, specifically in the second and third quarters, acknowledging one impressive catch allowed early in the game, but emphasizing that from that point forward, the pass rush and coverage started working together beautifully. He specifically singled out the interior pass rush, praising the push generated up front as a direct contributor to multiple interceptions Washington's defense came away with in the second half. When a reporter followed up about defensive tackle Ricky Barber specifically, Quinn's praise got even more pointed. He talked about liking Barber's ability to get on the edge as a pass rusher and specifically praised how the coaching staff has been deploying him at the 3 technique position, where his quickness lets him penetrate into the backfield rather than getting stuck fighting off blocks. Quinn even noted the visible physical transformation that Barber looked noticeably bigger and stronger. Direct evidence of serious offseason work paying off in real time. For a former undrafted rookie who spent much of last season fighting just to get on the field, hearing his head coach single him out by name with this level of specific praise is a massive statement about where his career is trending. Quinn also touched on the energy and competitive fire radiating through his revamped pass rush unit, discussing how certain pairs of players at the same position tend to feed off one another's competitive spirit in a way that elevates the whole room. He expressed genuine excitement about getting a key veteran pass rusher fully back into the mix soon after a long injury absence, framing it as a major boost for a group that's already shown flashes of real chemistry and aggression this camp. But let's save the biggest storyline for last, because this is the update that should have every single Commanders fan buzzing with genuine, real optimism. When a reporter asked whether Quinn would be comfortable with quarterback Jayden Daniels playing 0 total preseason snaps this summer, Quinn's answer walked a careful line. He said he's comfortable resting Daniels the same way he's been comfortable resting other established veterans. But he was clear that no final decision has actually been made yet. Daniels got significant reps during a recent joint practice against an outside opponent, and he's set to get plenty more work against Washington's own defense over the next 2 days, which Quinn said will help inform the final call. But then Quinn said something that should send a jolt of pure excitement through the entire Commanders fan base. Completely unprompted, he volunteered that Daniels has thrown what he called an incredible training camp. He specifically praised his accuracy and his command of the football, noting that Daniels is operating inside a brand new offensive system this year and yet you genuinely wouldn't be able to tell that from watching him play, there's no hesitation. No rookie and a new scheme uncertainty on tape. Quinn closed his comments on Daniels by simply saying he's been certainly impressed by everything he's seen from his franchise quarterback so far this camp. Coming from a head coach who has been noticeably measured and cautious with his public praise throughout this entire summer, that kind of direct, unprompted endorsement of Daniels' command of a new system is about as strong a signal as Commanders fans could possibly ask for heading into a pivotal, must-bounce-back season. So let's zoom all the way out for a second and take stock of everything we just learned from one single press conference. A rookie kicker has officially earned the full trust of his head coach. A quietly brilliant veteran cornerback signing is already paying real dividends with size and coverage instincts the secondary desperately needed. A once overlooked undrafted defensive tackle is physically transforming himself into a legitimate contributor. 2 rookie running backs are proving themselves versatile enough to carve out real roles. And through it all, sitting right at the center of this entire operation is a franchise quarterback who, according to his own head coach, is having an incredible training camp inside a brand new system. Is everything perfect in Ashburn right now? Absolutely not. Quinn himself made that clear with his blunt, no-nonsense criticism of a run game that's still finding its rhythm and a defense that needs to play with more violence and urgency right out of the gate. But that kind of self-awareness from a head coach, paired with the genuine excitement bubbling up around specific players across the roster, paints the picture of a team that knows exactly where its weaknesses are and is actively grinding to fix them before the games start counting for real. Keep your eyes locked on Ashburn, because between the kicker competition drama, the sneaky, brilliant veteran additions, and the continued evolution of Jayden Daniels inside this new offense, this Commanders training camp story is only just getting started. If this breakdown gave you a real, honest look inside Dan Quinn's mindset heading into the regular season, do not scroll away without smashing that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow more than you'd think. Drop a comment below and let me know which storyline from this press conference has you the most fired up, because I want to hear your take. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we've got so much more Commanders training camp coverage headed your way, and you will not want to miss a single update. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.